This one girl clearly hates me and is trolling me online. What do I do?
I don't know, beat her ass? I mean, knuck if you buck, right? I'm kidding. We do not condone violence over here, even if it seems like someone's begging for it.
This robot eats, sings and has a big following on her Instagram account. At first glance, or swipe, Marquela could understandably be mistaken for a living, breathing person. She wears real-life clothes by streetwear brands like Supreme and luxury labels like Chanel. She hangs out with real-life musicians, artists, and influencers in real-life trendy restaurants in New York and Los Angeles, where she lives. When Marquela holds her phone to a mirror, her reflection stares back. When she is photographed in the daylight, her body casts a shadow. In selfies, you can see the freckles on Marquela's face, her gap-toothed smile. But up close, her brown hair, often pulled into Princess Leia-esque buns, looks airbrushed. Twitter users have noted that her flyway frizz always falls in the same pattern. Her skin reads as smooth as the glass screen that separates us. And when you peer into Marquela's big brown eyes, she fails the ultimate test of humanity. No, Marquela isn't real, at least not like you and me. She is an avatar puppeteered by Brud, a mysterious LA-based startup of engineers, storytellers, and dreamers who claim to specialize in artificial intelligence and robotics. We humans have been tripping over the differences between real and fake ever since our forebears saw shadows on cave walls. But it used to be that real-looking fake humans were confined to Disney parks, movies, music videos, or video games. We could turn them off or leave them behind. Now they occupy spaces once reserved for real-life people experiencing real-life things. Like having your Instagram account hacked. Marquela is positioned as a social justice warrior of sorts, and on April 18th, a pro-Trump self-proclaimed robot supremacist CGI character named Bermuda wiped her account clean, posting photos of herself. Instead, she proceeded to accuse Marquela of being a fake-ass person who was duping her followers, the irony being that Bermuda isn't real either. Then she issued an ultimatum. Marquela couldn't have her account back until she promised to tell people the truth. Naturally, this got Marquela's followers, or Marquelites, all worked up. Bring back the real Marquela, they cried. Conspiracy-driven corners of the internet linked the hack to a theory that the world was going to end on April 18th, coincidentally via a robot takeover. For the average Instagram user, though, it was like watching a soap opera unfold on their phones. Why is robot drama more dramatic than my life, wrote one. In the end, Marquela's big reveal was shocking only in its obviousness. I'm not a human being, she said when Bermuda relinquished her account. I'm a robot. Marquela blamed Brud for leading her, and consequently her fans, to believe otherwise. But, of course, that was also her creators talking. In this way, Marquela represents perhaps the pinnacle of unrealistic beauty standards. How can we compete with someone who never ages or gets hungry, and who can be in 10 different places at once? Could the result be that real-life models and influencers become obsolete, or will their likenesses be frozen in time and replicated ad infinitum? There's conjecture that Marquela is a mix of animation and photographs of a female human. But the techniques used to create her are heavily guarded by Brud, and at least one influencer who posed chummily with Marquela told me she couldn't share details because was bound by an NDA. Whatever Lil Marquela's secret sauce, similar technology is being used to make others like her. The most prominent is Shudu, created by the British former photographer Cameron James Wilson. After a decade working in fashion, Wilson says he became disenchanted by the industry. Nothing really represents reality, he laments. He's wearing heavy makeup, some of which has rubbed off on his black hoodie. Shudu wearing a shirt given to her by Solsky. Photo. Courtesy of Cameron James Wilson. His experience photoshopping real people to look fake informed how he makes his fake people look real, Wilson explains. I always saw that peach fuzz was very distracting enough, which brings us back to the nagging question of what Brud's up to. One of the oddest strands of the whole story is why they chose a right-wing troll to out Marquela, ultimately painting themselves as the bad guys. Thinking hard about it, okay, maybe too hard, it occurs to me that the hack could have been a clever bit of jujitsu to build fans' trust in Lil Marquela. Because Brud lied to her about her origins, she could come clean about being computer-generated, while seeming ever more sincere about her woke consciousness. I'm not sure I can comfortably identify as a woman of color, a recent Instagram post from Marquela said. Brown was a choice made by a corporation. Woman was an option on a computer screen. Post-hack, Marquela declared herself a free agent who'd no longer work with Brud. Support for her choice poured in, with Riley Keough, the actress and granddaughter of Elvis Presley, sending her a heart emoji, and gossip blogger Paris Hilton calling her a shiro. Meanwhile, thousands of others didn't seem to care that she wasn't real. I know this is crazy, but I believe you, wrote one commenter. Even though you are a robot physically, everything else is human. Presumably, Marquela is still operated by Brud, even if the company is now focusing its promotional efforts on Blocko, her male equivalent with significantly fewer followers. The freedom she gained by admitting she wasn't real, though, is something a lot of us real-lifers wish for ourselves. We spend so much time pretending that hip parties and cool people are an organic part of our lives that we aren't curating the narratives we put out in the world. What a perverse relief it would be to confess that everything is fake. It brings to mind the Buddhist doctrine of no self, of how liberating it might be to recognize that there is no real you that must be clung to, that has to be propped up and defended. Existential philosophizing aside, we continue to follow Lil Marquela and her cohorts, even if we know they're not real, because we're suckers for a good story. You've made it this far. It's possible that what you see is what you get with Brud. But maybe we hope that there will be a way one day to fully upload ourselves online and let go. There is no grand plan, they're just a bunch of righteous millennials with a good idea and a genuine love of will and grace. When I asked Nicola if she'd ever Marquela herself, at first she said